Welcome back to That's Football. I'm Garth Mulbridge, joined today by Mark Goldbridge to chat all things transfers, news, football. Mark, how are you?
I've just got that. When people say it's Garth Mulbridge,
Yeah.
they're just changing the Goldbridge and the Mark, aren't they? Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually thought it was some sort of hipster thing where you call people Garth or something.
No, it's just changing it around. Well done, you're onto that
It's
straight
that
away.
simple.
Yeah. Started on the channel yesterday. Thanks for the lovely introduction. I'm not Donny van der Beek, Kasper Schmeichel. I'm not your son either, Seb. I don't think you can confirm that, can't you, Mark?
I think it's interesting actually because it's normally when somebody new comes on the channel, they get 10 minutes against Rochdale, and you basically got a start up front in a Champions League final because you've got Romano. So yeah, pretty good. Yeah.
Lots of news to go. Let's start with the news. We spoke about it yesterday. Fabrizio said match point when it comes to Declan Rice going to Arsenal. Looks like it's nailed on. I'm excited by that. But the other news is Caicedo. That could be nailed on. And then you've got a very, very young midfield. And I was thinking earlier as well, this whole team just becomes very exciting if they can replace Partey and Xhaka. And then, that 11 does look very, very tasty.
Yeah, well, I think they will get Declan Rice as much as I wish. I do wish United were in that race. I just think with the sale, it's unlikely. I've been saying on the channel for a couple of weeks now that in the industry, it's generally considered a done deal for Declan Rice. You can't see anything changing. Arsenal are going to play a lot of money. Add-ons could be as much as 100 million. No one's going to come in and do that deal. So I think that happens. And then, like you say, they do want Caicedo as well. They were very close to Caicedo in January. They are still very much in that race. And I think if they did get Declan Rice and Caicedo, then that Arsenal team's way better than last season. I just still think they need a goal scorer. I don't think Jesus is enough.
No, well, there is links today with Mbappe. That seems unlikely, but that could be. I just think when you're in this position, you've got to get they've got a great chance to go for it in terms of doubling down on what they've got and build that out. I don't think they will get Mbappe, but you've at least got to go for it. But yeah, that spine of that whole team is just so exciting when that happens as well. Declan Rice, you mentioned Man United though. Even if Manchester United, everything was sorted, if it was just a clear choice between Man United and Arsenal, do you think Declan Rice would choose Arsenal or Man United?
I think he'd choose Man United. And I know that's going to upset Arsenal fans, but I do think he would choose Manchester United because there's just, it's Man United, isn't it? We're Manchester United, as Gary Neville would say. I just feel that he would choose Man United over Arsenal. I know people who know Declan Rice, and to be honest, he always wanted to go to Chelsea, and he always respected and liked Manchester United, but Chelsea was his dream. Yeah. I've never heard of anybody close to him saying he bloody loves Arsenal. So it's hard to say really, but I know he definitely always considered United.
Well, there is that classic. I do think he wants to stay in London as well, and if he goes to Arsenal as well, he does become the main man there, doesn't he? Where if he goes to Manchester United now, he's probably not understudy to Casemiro, but he's definitely not maybe even the main man in that midfield. Another one we want to chat about. We have to chat about it because it's everywhere. So much is. I think you mentioned it in the video this morning about me speaking to Fabrizio yesterday saying, look, Jude's the biggest deal. Is anything else going to happen? 24 hours is a long time in football. Kylian Mbappe, the back and forth between the press and the club. It basically has said that he's always going to stay at PSG, but he's not going to sign a new contract. PSG obviously don't want to lose him on a free. It does look like it's nailed onto Real Madrid now, doesn't it?
Yeah, Fabrizio has said that Manchester United is not on the agenda of Manchester United. He's probably more likely to be on a more realistic agenda of Manchester City. We don't know what Manchester City are going to do this summer. But look, Real Madrid is where Kylian Mbappe should be going. He should be going to, the biggest club in the world. He's the best player in the world. I'd love to see him come to the Premier League and wear Manchester United's red. But I think there's a very, very little chance of that happening. I think Real Madrid. It would be very interesting though, because PSG have to sort of let him go because he's going to go for nothing in a year. Yeah. But they can't stand Real Madrid and Perez. So they're sort of just have to take it really.
Do you even think Real Madrid seems like the perfect fit? But I sat down earlier and I was thinking, because there's been so much that's gone on at PSG and they've literally offered him, sporting director, bloody director of football, all the wages in the world. He wants to play down the middle. He wants to play off the left. Then you get the reports out that he's sort of playing second fiddle to the likes of Messi and Neymar with everything that they bring. And if he goes to Real Madrid, they're sort of building these new, almost modern Galacticos. and he almost goes into part of another group again. And I don't know if it's just going to, rear its ugly head again. I remember the comments that Henri made around, was it like February, March time when this was happening again? And he was like, he's just got to do what the coach asks him, and he keeps just causing problem after problem.
Yeah.
And I think it would definitely work at Real Madrid. It seems like the perfect fit, but I don't know. There might be something there.
Well, Robert McCormack just said in the chat that he's 1-6 to stay at PSG, and apparently he said he wants to stay. Well, that was something I mentioned on the morning show, that, he can just run his contract down and become very, very rich next summer, can't he? So he might be more than happy to stay for another year. Sort of do Harry Kane's sort of doing a wish version, isn't he? Running his contract down at Spurs, Kylian Mbappe running his contract down at PSG. But look, yeah, I think there's a lot of players that seem to like this at the moment. I think there's a lot of footballers who are having their heads turned by Saudi Arabia and the MLS. And, I don't think players these days really like the idea of, clubs getting a couple of £100 million for them when, hold out for a year and that's all going in your own pocket, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, even today, I mean, Saudi Arabia, Steven Gerrard's gone there to manage one of the teams over there, which
I'm surprised I've not had a job inquiry, actually, because, at least, I've managed in front of 30,000 people, sidemen.
And I mean,
I could definitely do a better job than most of them lot. I am available.
Yeah.
If Saudi Arabia are interested, I'm sure there must be about 15 clubs in their league. I will do a better job than 12 of you managers. Come on.
I mean, you even got the shout out from Nico Milano at the weekend on Soccer Aid. No bigger praise. Get that on the CV. The reference is there.
I genuinely could do a good job, and their views would go up more than they will for Kante and Gerrard.
What would be your first signing if you had a blank checkbook?
Got to get De Gea, and
De Gea would not be your first signing if you went to Saudi Arabia.
We won't concede any goals then. De Gea, well, we won't be able to play Goldbridge ball with De Gea actually. So, but
what is Goldbridge ball for the uninitiated? Sorry.
Yeah, just passing out from the back. Pass and move, nice. Keep your shape. I genuinely think that's a good idea for Saudi Arabia, and they should be looking to do it.
Yeah, maybe we'll come back to that one. Another one that I think has really gone under the radar a little bit, not so much transfer news, but the story around Pep Guardiola finishing everything when his contract ends in 2025. I mean, 24 hours is a long time in football, like we discussed earlier. 2 years is an even longer time. But, I mean, he's got the keys to the kingdom there, hasn't he? He runs that club from top to bottom. If he wants something, he can get it. And in 2 years' time, do you think he'll say, goodbye, I've had enough? And I mean, there's always that talk he wants to do international football, isn't there, as well? But I mean, 2 years is just such a long time to say, like, 2025 is going to be the end of this.
I'd look forward to seeing Pep in international football, because I just think every project he picks is, it's like moving from one mansion to another, isn't it? It doesn't, he might put a new kitchen in and people go, oh, he's brilliant at building teams. But basically he walks into a mansion and goes, oh, I'd like that top of the range hot tub. I'd like that top of the range kitchen with the marble surface, and I'd like to put a Porsche in the drive. People act like he builds teams from like Rochdale. He doesn't. He walks into projects where realistically, he does a good job, but he has a lot of money. I'd like to see him in international football because you can't buy players, and I think he'd actually do quite well. I mean, I actually do think Pep would do well if he was Arsenal coach or something like that. But it would be good to see him. There must be a point where you get bored of Man City, because he's never going to get the credibility. I mean, he's their biggest cheerleader, isn't he? If you ever watch him on a Champions League night, he's always trying to get the crowd up. So I think he knows he's never going to get the real credibility that he had at Barcelona and stuff. So at some point, I think he will walk, yeah.
Well, the other interesting side of that as well is Arteta's contract's up in 2025, and does the master become the apprentice and walk into that city? Yeah.
That would be hilarious, wouldn't it? If Arsenal's Arteta went to Manchester City, took Saka with him. Just
slides into that. Another one as well, a bit different this one, Mark. I'll put it in. I've not told you about this one. Just broke just before we came on air. Zlatan Ibrahimovic interested in the world of influencer boxing.
Is he really?
Yeah, he is. Said he's in KSI. Wants a piece of it. He'd like to get involved. I mean, you're in this world, Mark. Your initial thoughts of that huge breaking news?
I'm more than happy to get in the ring with Zlatan and be the guy who wipes his brow with the towel. Like Paulie in Rocky. I'll go, knock his block off. I like KSI, but if he got in the ring with Zlatan, I think he'd murder him. I don't know what the chat think about that, but Zlatan's martial arts trained. He's about 6'5". and he's ridiculously fit. I don't think Zlatan should be allowed anywhere near influencer boxing. He's too big. What, you should go and do wrestling. That'd be good. You like wrestling, wouldn't it? Get him in the wrestling ring.
Yeah, I thought more MMA or definitely wrestling. Because the big thing with wrestling, you've got to have the personality, and he's definitely got that. You can imagine him dropping those promos, those cutthroat promos, calling people out, and he'd be able to back it up. We've seen it on the pitch. And
I like this, and that's why I asked whether it was real, because I actually like these sort of topics. So Zlatan Ibrahimovic entering the world of influencer boxing. What does the chat think? Zane says that once Arteta wins stuff, he can move to City and Pep will join Arsenal for a new challenge. Yeah.
Don't see that.
Then you wake up and you see that you've pissed yourself.
One thing, I listen to your thoughts on United stands and across the landscape. You're everywhere. But one thing that did grind my gears a little bit this week, and it's popped up loads of times in my timeline, is the stuff about Luke Shaw.
Yeah.
Miserable, you were saying. I mean,
you were
saying he should be miserable.
This is quite funny. So I said there was a picture of Luke Shaw, who I like, smiling, walking into England's camp. 24
just
hours.
A picture.
Yeah, but 24 hours after Man City have won the treble. Know your audience. They're all brands. I just think, don't put a smile on your face because United fans are hurting. The best thing was, though, Will, I don't know whether you saw this. Somebody took a picture of me on Instagram.
Yeah, with the
Is this where you were going to go?
Yeah. You've ruined it for me.
Oh, sorry, mate.
It's all right, pal.
No,
go. No, it's fine. I was just saying, look, he was smiling on Sunday. You said you're having a Stella. What did you have in the end? You had a Peroni. Ear-to-ear grin, some have described it.
Yeah, it's had hundreds of retweets. So this guy's took a picture of me having a pint on Sunday afternoon with Seb.
No, you did put it. You put it on your Instagram. It sounds like someone's papped you from the beer garden.
Yeah, it was a proper Instagram post from my photographer.
Yeah.
And somebody said, "Wow, you can't take the piss out of Luke Shaw when you're having a pint with a smile on your face." I'm drowning my sorrows, and I'm not. Last time I checked, I'm not playing centre mid for Manchester United on 200 grand a week. So look, I don't apologise. No apologies.
Really? I was like, what's the guy got to do? He's going back to England camp. You know how much I love Gareth Southgate. It's probably one of the happiest places in the world going into that England camp. He's had a bit of a rough end to the season. On the whole, a good season for him. You wanted him in your team of the year. That's another story.
They just don't care.
Who?
These players
they do care.
Come on.
They do. And it was a picture as well. It'd be great to see if it was a live photo just to see how. And I think you were smiling more than Luke Shaw, so I think he deserves an apology from you.
No, not getting it.
Another thing that you were disappointed at me at, we were chatting at the weekend. I was back home watching the Manchester City game, and I was really rooting for him. But obviously, you weren't very happy with that, Mark. And it brings on to a discussion: should you support English clubs in Europe in finals? And I know my stance on it. There's only one club I wouldn't really support if they got to a.
Are you in a relationship, Will?
I am, yes.
Yeah. So if you go home tonight and your missus is up to something and they're English, you're going to go, don't worry, you're an English fella. It's all right. Yeah, you're an English fella. It's absolutely fine.
So if Birmingham City got to the Champions League final in some sort of alternative reality that will never happen, would you not support Birmingham City if they got to the final?
I do it on a case-by-case basis. I would support Blues, yes. I would support Villa. There are teams I don't mind, but there's a hit list of Man City, Arsenal, Liverpool, obviously.
Yeah.
Chelsea, I sometimes don't mind. Spurs, I wouldn't care. But
but you can see my standpoint then, can't you? I'm getting behind City at the weekend. I've literally got no dog in the fight there.
You must be one of the few. You're very rare.
I was at a social club and it was I say 80% City.
Really?
A few Villa fans I was with saying that they didn't want them to win it because they didn't want to get added to the sort of list of English clubs. I don't really understand that.
No, I get that. I don't agree with the whole just because they're English, support them. But I suppose if you're a supporter of somebody who never wins anything like Blues, then you've got to take what you can get. Was it just because they're wearing a shade of blue? Oh, that's a bit like Birmingham.
Yeah, well, I can be bought for anything as well, so it's probably a little bit of that as well. England game on Friday. I know you're a big fan of that. Are you looking forward to the big game against Malta?
No.
And did you watch?
We're not doing a watch along.
You get that locked in that'll be an absolutely huge watch along. Just before we go,
you could do it.
Oh,
You're not watching it either. You see, I've thrown you under the bus there.
No, I'll be watching that. I'll be getting that. That'll be an absolute barnstormer of a game. Just before we go, obviously the treble celebrations last night. Did you get to see much of it? What were your thoughts on?
Oh yeah. I recorded it. I'd know that's like I have got no thoughts on it because ultimately I won't watch it. I thought it was. You know what? I don't even mind Jack Grealish massively.
That's great, Jack Grealish. In that picture where he's like the rain's down on him.
Yeah,
it's like a scene from The Lion King. It's absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, I mean he's the only Man City player with any personality, isn't he? So it sort of works. But no, I've got no interest in it. Is the honest answer there. And you know, it's almost like it didn't happen anyway. I mean, I really thought it was going to be worse. A lot of people have said that to me. It's almost like they've tried to make it a big thing, but nobody's listening. You know, it's like the boy who cried wolf.
No, I think it was quite a big
Apart
thing.
from you, Will, you're listening.
Yeah, I'm listening. I'm always listening. But no, I thought, you know, Jack Grealish, we've just got to... And, you know, I've hated Jack Grealish in my time. And I've gone 180 on him. So if I can do it, you can as well, Mark.
No. Oh, no, I don't mind Grealish. I never did. He should have come to Man United. More so.
No. But yeah, that's about it. I suppose you're back on to takeover news for the rest of the day.
I will be on. We're on the United Stand at 4:00. We've got Jamie Jackson. So if you want to tune into there, it's a journalist. He'll be talking about the sale and stuff. And I'm on the United Stand at 8:00. But yeah, just trying new things on That's Football. Nice to have a bit of a chat with Will. Did the Romano stuff yesterday, and it's always nice to have a bit of a back and forth. It's a bit of a game of tennis, whereas sometimes it's just not. You know, I don't get to speak to real people. I just get to speak to letters.
Yeah, well, sometimes the only day out of the house is when you go down to Leamington Spa, isn't it? So it's, you know, it's nice to have a bit of a conflab on here.
Yeah, we're definitely not pre-recorded, Lillers United, because if it was pre-recorded, I wouldn't even know to do it at this time and highlight your live chat. When are FIFA streams coming back on Twitch? I don't know, Joseph. There's so much going on at the moment. Let's get over to the United Stand for 4:00. And yeah, thanks everyone for watching. Make sure you smash a like and subscribe. Big up, Will. Thank you very much, mate.
See you, pal.